Welcome to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Marcellus Wiley in the house with Emmanuel Acho.
My dog.
We usually have swag wars on the internet of who wins the day in terms of our clothing. Let's skip Monday.
Why you bring me the banker suit today, Marcellus? I know you got money, but why you bring me the banker suit?
Happy Yom Kippur. I'll take the holiday today. All right, we're here for the next 2 hours with you guys. So coming up a wild weekend in the NFL. So let's get it started with Dak Prescott, who threw for at least 450 yards for the second straight game. Dak added 3 touchdown passes as well, but he also threw 2 interceptions and lost a fumble. Dak was picked off near the end of the first half. Then on the Cowboys' potential game-tying drive, he was picked off again in the end zone. Dallas is now 1-2 to start the season. So, Acho, do you blame Dak Prescott for the Cowboys' loss to the Seahawks?
Man, Marcellus, I've been taking such a deep dive into this, and I'm about to give the fans something they might not like, but it's like medicine. It'll be good for them in the long run.
Okay.
I don't blame Dak Prescott for the Cowboys' loss.
There you go. Way to go back home to Dallas.
I blame Dak Prescott for the Cowboys not winning. I don't blame him for the Cowboys' loss. I blame Dak Prescott for the Cowboys not winning. We live in a NFL era right now where the quarterback gets all the praise and the quarterback gets all the blame. Right or wrong, it's what it is. Last week, the Cowboys come back and beat the Falcons. We didn't give kudos to the Cowboys special teams coach. We said, oh, hell, Dak Prescott. We didn't give kudos to the Cowboys kickoff onside team, recovering a play in fantastic fashion. Oh, hell, Dak Prescott. So now, when the Cowboys lose, I'm not going to blame Dak Prescott for their loss. But I will blame Dak Prescott for their lack of winning. If you're running the 4x100 and Usain Bolt, the fastest man to ever live, if he gets the baton in third place, it's not his fault they're in third place, Marcellus. It's not. I'm not going to blame Usain Bolt if he finishes in third place.
I see what you're doing now.
But it's Usain's fault if he doesn't take them to win the game because Usain is supposed to be that great. What I've learned now in NFL football is quarterbacks can atone for the sins of everyone else. I don't care about turnovers right now, Marcellus. I don't care about time of possession, and I'm a defensive guy. But look, statistically, the best quarterbacks win the games. 14 games were played yesterday. We can throw the tie out the window. Only in 2 games.
You would throw that tie out.
I mean, just because you'll get my point. You'll get my point.
Okay, I hope.
Only in 2 games did the worst quarterback win.
By what metric is worse?
By the metric of eyeballs, right? Whatever we would all... the consensus of what we said. Here's what I mean. Seahawks beat the Cowboys. Russ is better than Dak. The Bills beat the Rams. Jared Allen is better than Goff right now. Josh Allen is better than Goff right now. The Browns, they beat the Washington football team. Baker Mayfield right now is better than Dwayne Haskins. Just go on and on and on and on the list. We are. But go down the whole list. Y'all take your time, go down the whole list.
Okay.
The team with the better quarterbacks win the game. So it's not Dak's fault. My first lap, and I got laps for you.
I can tell.
I got laps for you. Because it's not Dak Prescott's fault that the Cowboys lost. But in an era where your quarterback can atone for the sins of everybody else, it's Dak Prescott's fault the Cowboys didn't win.
Woo! Look, I could put it on Dak. And putting it on Dak in the moment may sound like, what? A 180 from me? But it actually will serve a greater point that I want to make about the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. So, yeah, I can blame Dak because Dak, despite having consecutive career games, we saw a guy who didn't play a clean game. And Mike McCarthy pointed that out. Dak Prescott with the 2 turnovers and then the one at the end of the game. We're going to say it's 3, but really that one, that's Hail Mary almost situation. But the one going into the half and then the strip sack, actually those land on the resume of Dak Prescott. Now we're in the pickle of Dak is the reason why they're in these games, but then Dak is the reason they don't win a game yesterday. And let's talk about that game yesterday. Because that game yesterday saw an offensive line, a mash unit that went through 3 different lineup switches during the game. They had the center go play guard. They had the guard go play tackle. He's like, excuse me, I ain't played that since college, but okay, whatever. And you saw them not having Tyron Smith out there as well. That was just to start the game. How did the game end? Basically with a 5th rounder from Seattle getting a sack where Tyron Smith would have been. Interesting. How about Ezekiel Elliott? Oh, my God, Zeke. Off to his worst start in his young career in terms of a 3-game stretch. In terms of not giving a balance to this offense, Dak Prescott is now walking around looking at saying, where's my help? Now, the receiving core is dependent on Dak Prescott, so I keep them together in tandem. But when you talk about the offensive line and all the issues they have and how porous they are, no balance in a running game, then yeah, Dak Prescott's going to do too much. As we use this excuse for Carson Wentz and others who struggle, when you're trying to do too much, you may make a turnover or two. You may have an issue or two. That's the only thing that I could poke a hole at with Dak. Yesterday, going on the road against the front-running MVP, you are in a last possession, last-second game once again, only because Dak Prescott was on the field, even though Dak didn't play his perfect game.
Here's what I will say to that. And I don't think that I'm not going to provide injuries as an excuse. Injuries can be an explanation. Dak Prescott, I don't want to hear about the Cowboys' offensive line woes. Eagles are maligned. The Giants are maligned. The Washington football team, they have a head coach who's going through one of the toughest battles right now in battling cancer. Everybody is going through something, so we can't even talk about injuries. But let's nitpick, because that's what you have to do in the game of football.
Right.
If Russell Wilson were the quarterback for the Cowboys, when the Cowboys were down 28-30, remember, fourth quarter, Cowboys down 28-30. Russell Wilson more than likely would have gone down and scored a touchdown, not a field goal. But we have to nitpick because, Dak, you want big-time money, so you're going to have to get big-time critique. It's 23 seconds left in the game, and I'm going to show y'all the clip because Troy Aikman said it's a good thing he didn't catch this ball. Dak Prescott throws the ball high to Cedric Wilson, 23 seconds left in the game. If the ball is on target, if it's out ahead of him, who knows what would have happened? We don't know because it wasn't. Now, because the ball was high, Troy Aikman's going to say, it's a good thing you didn't catch it. You would have had to burn a timeout. But did y'all not see Alvin Kamara yesterday catch a ball, break 4 tackles, and get into the end zone? You don't even have to look at Alvin Kamara. Let me show y'all Cedric Wilson again earlier on in the game.
Where'd he go?
A ball on target and what he does with it. Now, it's earlier on in the game. Dak Prescott puts this ball on target, on the money. Well, no, this is another play with the 4-minute mark left. Dak Prescott misses a tight end. Just hit the tight end. Just hit the tight end, and maybe you get a touchdown that drive instead of settling for a field goal. My issue here is very simple. Dak Prescott has to be great enough to overcome the other obstacles in the game. Dak Prescott, he only got sacked twice. Russell Wilson got sacked 4 times. Don't talk to me about the fact that the Cowboys' offensive line couldn't hold up.
You don't want to hear that?
No. Alden Smith, the Cowboys' defensive end, he leads the NFL in sacks.
I know.
So just FYI.
I said.
So Russell Wilson was also running for his life. Now, on that last possession, 3rd and 3, Russell Wilson throws a touchdown pass. Sure, he had time. But Russell Wilson's also running for his life. So the fact of the matter is, Dak Prescott is very good. He's a very good quarterback. Dak Prescott is not an elite quarterback. And if you want to win Super Bowls, you have to be elite. That's what we've seen. Even Marcellus, and this is my second lap. That's where I'm going to end.
Wow.
Even in Super Bowls, the team with the better quarterback wins the game. Outside of the Seahawks beating the Broncos 2013, and outside of the Panthers beating the Broncos, outside of the Panthers losing to the Broncos in 2015.
Wipe your brow, big dog.
Please.
I know I'm putting heat on you, bro.
I'm sweating.
And I ain't even did anything yet. I'm not even into my personality lane, which is my stronger lane. I'm in my analysis lane, which is your lane, which I'm beating you in already. You're over there sweating. It's amazing that I asked my guy, my co-host, what's the metric to tell me that the better quarterbacks won yesterday? He says the eyeball test. That's a metric? Okay, University of Texas. Then he comes out and says, Dak's not elite. Dak's not elite, but he had no offensive line.
Okay. Don't even start doing this, Marcel. You're not going to win this one.
Ezekiel Elliott had 14 carries for 34 yards. Dak goes out there and they say, forget the game plan. Mike McCarthy on his hiatus just decided that I'm just going to be pass happy. They have 57 pass attempts. They go out there and still Russell Wilson, the front-running elite MVP, is on all fours praying to the sports gods that he can win another nail-biter. And if Dak is not elite or whatever you want to call Russell Wilson, if he's not bottom tier of Russell Wilson, because I get it, Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind.
Of course.
But if Dak is not in that neighborhood, how in the hell does a team hang in there to the last possession? I'm talking about it was 6 seconds left in that game before you finally realized who was going to win that game. Please explain to me how Dak Prescott's not in the neighborhood of Russell
Unless, Marcellus, you think it is sheer coincidence that Russell Wilson is 11-2 in the last 2 years in games decided by 7 points or less.
Why you never go back to Dak's entire career when you want to do that? Because Dak has a winning percentage.
No, because what do we? I'm not going to talk about Tom Brady back in 2003.
So why are you going to last year Russell Wilson?
Last year, what's most recent?
Most recent is this year.
Let me get to my point.
Because Dak just did that last week.
Even this year.
Dak just did it last week.
Let me get to my. Then Dak is still 1-2 in games decided by 7 or less.
With no
He's
help.
still 1-2.
With no help.
has help. You create help. Russell Wilson has Tyler Lockett. Russell Wilson has Tyler Lockett, a 5'8", 180-pound receiver.
I already told you a bunch of the receivers.
Russell Wilson has DK Metcalf, who sacrificed 7 points yesterday. Okay. And you're going to tell me that Dak Prescott, who has Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott has no help. Okay, and now you're going to tell me, wait, Dak Prescott has no offensive line. Wow. Let's talk about the Giants. Their super freakazoid star running back is gone. Let's talk about the Eagles. They have no offensive line. Wow. I don't care about
what kind
the help
of shoes
anymore.
you got on? I ain't got no shoes right now.
I got no shoes.
You are jumping around. First of all, stop giving me names. I need game. Ezekiel Elliott had 14 carries, 34 yards, slipping in the end zone to give up safeties. Talking about, yeah, I need to do better. You need to do better. You think so? How about the fact that the Dallas Cowboys on defense, 25th ranked now, 30th in giving up points? Hold on. So they don't have a defense. It's overrated. Zeke, the first 3 weeks of this season, overrated. Dak is making this work with a passing game. And to that point of the passing game, what's amazing is when Dak first got in the league, as any rookie, you throw them out there to the fire and they go 13-3. You know what the percentage of passes were that year? 51%. Then they were like, oh, we got a good quarterback here. Next year, 52%. Oh, we got a really good 56%. Last year, 58%, and he has a PR year in terms of his numbers. This year, 65.7%. Hold on, big dog. What is going on right now in terms of the play calling? You know what's happening? Whatever Ezekiel Elliott in this running game is going through, it's not supporting Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is putting this team on his back. They're lucky they're 1-2 because they got Dak. If without Dak, you know where this team would be with these numbers?
Probably 1-2. Probably 1-2.
34-yard rushing attack and a 30th ranked points allowed defense. You know what that adds up to? All those sorry teams you talk about.
Marcellus, you act as if the Seahawks were ground and pounding yesterday. The Seahawks only averaged what? The Seahawks, Russell Wilson was the Seahawks' second leading rusher also, just like Dak Prescott. Just like Dak Prescott.
Who do you go against?
You're talking about the defense?
Yeah, the Dallas defense. Man, I'm trying to tell you.
The Seahawks defense isn't vaunted.
No, it's not.
The Seahawks defense is giving up 31 points, 35 points, and 20-some-odd points.
And that's my point. You just said the MVP is still having nail-biters. And why is he having a nail-biter? You last week just told me how amazing Cam Newton looked and how great the Patriots looked when they took him to him a nail-biter. But then when Dak comes in here and does the same exact thing without any help,
you can't give him the same credit. No. Here's what I will say.
Give Cam Newton credit at least.
Great, but you have to look at things differently. Here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean by that. We'll talk about this more later. Joe Burrow, oh my God, he's playing amazing.
He did play well.
Joe Burrow played well for a rookie. If Joe Burrow was, if Patrick Mahomes put up Joe Burrow's numbers, we wouldn't say, oh man, Patrick Mahomes played great. Everything is in context. Cam Newton, he did play great. But Cam Newton played great for a guy who's 0-8 in his last 8 starts prior to this season.
The Seattle game?
Yes, Cam played great. He put up 397 yards. Cam did play great, but everything is looked at in context. Dak Prescott is playing great, but the difference between winning...
Now we're getting somewhere.
But I said that. But the difference between winning and losing, you know this. A blade of grass. 24% of games are decided by 3 points or less. 53% of games are decided by 7 points or less. Russell Wilson, 11-2 in his last 7 games, in his last 2 years, decided by 7 points or less. The game is decided by inches. And what I'm saying is the difference between extraordinary and ordinary is what? That little bit extra.
And I love all that. Thank you for the cliches. Here's my thing, big dog. This is their 3rd game together with a new head coach. Oh, my God. This is a guy that is going out there without any support and does the same thing.
How can you say this?
Later. He actually plays better in a week later, not a clean game, than a Cam Newton, and you give him all the credit in the world. Here's the thing I want to push back on you.
How can you say this?
The numbers. I want to push back on you in this respect, and we're going to move on transition. You're being real typical, because you know I spent some time in Dallas right now. And I know your history. You grew up in Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And since your time in Dallas, you've won tremendous success. I could say that. You've been great. You've been an amazing person. But instead of coming back to your roots, coming back to Dallas, you're one of those cats that, I don't know, either goes to Austin. Didn't you spend some time in Austin? Or more importantly, go to L.A. And you know what's so funny? When I was in Dallas, they talked about guys like you because they lose their way. They lose their perspective. And you last week just sold me on how great Cam Newton was in that game. And then I see Dak Prescott do the same thing, if not more, with less. And all of a sudden, he got to get killed.
Cam, no. You're not going to slide this one.
Oh.
You're going to tell me that Cam Newton has less than Dak Prescott. Cam Newton had more than Dak Prescott. Cam Newton has Julian Edelman, Kill Harry. I'm not even going to entertain that.
No. Hey, that's what the world told me. He's going to be a future Hall of Famer.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to start you on this next topic, too. Go ahead and transition.
Stay in Dallas, the place you never go back to. With turnovers and bad defense, that told the story in their loss to the Seahawks. Dak Prescott had 2 picks and a fumble, but Dallas's defense didn't fare any better. They sacked Russell Wilson 4 times, but also gave up 5 touchdown passes to the MVP frontrunner. Probably 6. You know what happened on the other one. So, Acho, are these the same old Cowboys?
They are, man. And they are because for the last 15 years, since I was in Dallas, since I was in high school in Dallas.
How long?
The last 15 years.
15 years ago?
Take back 15 years. You know, I was in high school 15 years ago.
Go home.
When I was even in Dallas, the Cowboys were what, Marcellus? Had a good quarterback, really good quarterback in Tony Romo.
Oh, okay.
Really good quarterback. They had stars. Oh, my God. You had Dez Bryant. You had DeMarco Murray, Jason Witten in his prime. Ooh. You had stars. You had sizzle, but you didn't have no substance. You had so much sizzle, but you didn't have any substance. Cowboys have all the stars in the world right now. Sizzle. Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper. Yeah. You got 2 first-round receivers. You got a 3rd-round receiver. You got a first-round running back. You have one of the greatest steals in recent era of quarterbacks in Dak Prescott. But you don't have any substance. Furthermore, here's the real issue with the Cowboys. Nepotism strikes again. Oh. Cronyism strikes again. Jerry Jones, start hiring the most qualified and stop hiring your homeboys and stop letting your homeboys hire your homeboys. Who is the Cowboys defensive coordinator? I believe it's a man by the name of Mike Nolan, if I'm not mistaken. Mike Nolan, how does he know Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy? Mike Nolan hired Mike McCarthy to be his OC when Mike Nolan was with the 49ers back in 2006. The last time Mike Nolan was a DC, he finished 24th, 26th, 27th as the defensive coordinator. And that was in 2012, 2013. Marcellus, how in God's name does a man who hasn't been a defensive coordinator since 2012, and when he was a defensive coordinator in 2012, was god-awful, how is he now the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys? The same Cowboys who have the 3rd worst defense in the National Football League. Jerry Jones has built this whole Cowboys organization. No, I'm not done yet. He built this whole Cowboys organization off nepotism and cronyism. Jason Garrett, last Cowboys head coach, son of a longtime scout, former Cowboys quarterback. Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, former Cowboys quarterback. Start hiring people that actually should be there instead of sitting here playing all these favorites.
Oh, wow. Are these the same old Cowboys?
Yes.
Hell no, for good and bad reasons. And let's go through that. But let's first talk about this. What did you say? Nepotism, cronyism? You want to go there? Damn, last time I checked, Bill Belichick's son is on staff.
Absolutely.
Is Bill Belichick the greatest coach of all time? I wonder if you're really trying to make a correlation with who's on your staff based on relationship and how the success of your franchise. You can't do that.
Cowboys don't have that luxury. They don't have the luxury to Belichick.
Oh, and I saw a team in the Super Bowl with Kyle Shanahan. I wonder if Shanahan, that sounds familiar. Wonder how that got. Anyway, McVay, I wonder, damn it. Never mind. Okay, anyway, let's just get out of that lane. Let's get into this lane that I can beat you because these facts are just going to destroy you. Dak Prescott is now being put in a position because of his contract demands, even though he already has $35 million on the table, he's like, not enough, which is true. You know why? Because when Dak first came to this Cowboys team, he was 63% of the offense. Rookie year, 13-3. That went up to 73% last year in a career year. You know what it is right now? Because of the lack of support.
Oh, my God.
Support. Sizzle is not substance. Lack of support. 83%. By comparison, Mahomes is at 70%, and Aaron Rodgers, the greatest, at 65%. They are asking Dak, as Giselle would say, to throw the ball and catch the ball. and Giselle didn't say this, but go out there and block for yourself too, and help out in the running game as well. That's what's happening right now, big dog. I have nothing else to say about Dak Prescott in terms of how he's helping this team and carrying it on his back. But let's talk about the Cowboys of old. Because if you really want to go old, like my old school, you see, your old school is like Tony Romo. My old school is they won 3 out of 4 championships when you were like an infant. Okay, that's old. And then if you want to go like, recent old school, you have to look at the names and say, are they living up to the billing? Only Dak Prescott of all those names, Tyron Smith, you can say it. You can say Ezekiel Elliott. You can say, you do a recent history right now, this season. Who is playing up to their name contract value? There's no one on defense.
Michael Gallup for sure is. CeeDee Lamb for sure is.
Are we really rolling out the Dallas Cowboys when we see the montage of faces and seeing Michael Gallup in the top 3?
You just asked me, though. You just asked me. He was a third-round pick.
Who's making him?
He was a third-round pick.
Who's making him?
He is. He is. Who beat the receiver yesterday? Who beat the receiver yesterday?
You keep trying to go to the receiving core, and which is making my Dak point even stronger. Dak is doing it all with his receiving core without the support of the protection, without the support of the running game, and certainly without the support of the defense.
Dude, okay, first off, I got to ask my producers, do y'all have, I'm going to bring up my graphic from the next block. I might have to bring it up to this block.
Look, I got you on the ropes. You changing your game plan.
No. Y'all let me know in my ear, but I'm going to keep talking for now. Marcellus, stop with this twisted, convoluted narrative.
You don't like me.
The Cowboys have a top 2 offense in the NFC by skill position.
Hold on, they got the number 1 offense in the NFL.
Offense in the NFC.
Number 1 in the NFL.
Yeah, but I'm talking about support. I'm going to completely undress your support argument. The Cowboys have 3 receivers, 3 of them, that are better than any other receiver in the rest of the NFC East.
What's your metric?
3 of them right now.
Metric?
Any metric you want to use, I don't care. Any metric. I don't care. Let's go first-round picks then. Let's use that metric.
Oh, you can't do that.
Then what metric do you want to use? You tell me.
Something
use a
that takes
statistical
me
metric.
out of your emotional opinion and takes me into reality.
Okay, then use a statistical.
Any metric.
Then use a statistical metric. Michael Gallup had 138 yards yesterday. Not all because of Dak Prescott. Because Michael Gallup is beating DBs. You have to get open.
He's playing great.
CeeDee Lamb.
Keep going.
Is balling
Keep
right now.
On the list. say a name that you never said before.
Cedric Wilson is balling right now.
Have you ever said that name on this show before?
Okay.
I wonder where that came from.
Because I asked for the Cedric Wilson clip. Please run the Cedric Wilson clip, not the Dalton Schultz clip. Run the Cedric Wilson clip. I want to see Cedric Wilson and what he did, not Dak Prescott, what Cedric Wilson did. Because Dak Prescott, Marcellus, let's watch this. Let's watch this.
I wonder where his name is.
Who deserves this credit? Who deserves that credit?
Who deserves that credit?
Who deserves that credit? Who deserves that credit? Thank you. Dak Prescott, Marcellus.
That's your point?
No, my point is this.
One clip?
My point is this. Dak Prescott had 472 yards yesterday.
I wonder who helped him do that.
40% of those yards after catch.
That's what they all do.
No. That's not what they all do.
Yes, it is.
Russell Wilson, he had 315 yards yesterday. 23% of those yards after catch.
Yeah.
So my point being, don't tell me that Dak has no help. 40% of Dak's yardage came from help. Russell Wilson, 20% of his yardage came from help. Dak outthrew Russell Wilson by 150 yards. But without the yak, by 40 yards. All Dak has right now, don't discredit Cedric Wilson, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. 40% of his yards came from help. Plays like that.
You can't be glued to your notes. I know you do.
I'm not even looking at my notes. I'm looking at Eagles notes. These are Eagles notes. I'm not even looking at notes.
It sounds like you are talking about the Eagles or something else, not Dallas and Dak. Dak is the quarterback. Dak is going to make receivers look great. Dak is hoping that his O-line makes him look greater. Dak is needing his running game to support him. And Dak is hoping that his defense can give him more opportunities so they can go on the field. All I'm saying is you keep giving me Russell Wilson stats and then comparable stats from Dak. And in some metrics, Dak is doing better.
No, in no metrics.
My only point is, if you keep glowing over Russell Wilson, you can't keep slighting Dak, especially when Russell Wilson is nail-biting at the end of the games to beat that same quarterback who had no help and still took him to the finish.
Every game is a nail-biter.
No,
you were smart. You're way smarter than this.
Really?
Because you acting like a fan. You acting like a fan. You played 10 years in the league. You went to Columbia, and you acting like a fan. Every game is a nail-biter. Every freaking one of these games are 7 points.
Yeah, oh, really? Oh, so
okay,
New England.
Hyperbole. Apologies for hyperbole. 53%, Marcellus. I'm sorry.
Oh, so that's not
50% of the games are 7 points or less.
There is a differentiator that you have to respect. And all I'm saying is if you give Dak the proper support, which includes the chemistry. I'm not saying the name. Ezekiel is amazing. Has Ezekiel been amazing this year? Can we stop?
He hasn't. He hasn't.
Has the O-line been anything this year, of whether injuries or just...
But how long will you make excuses? The 49ers, they have nobody.
This is the third game, brother. I'm not going off of 49ers last year's success. I'm not even making excuses. I'm talking about a chemistry gelling process that I'm patient enough to watch and observe. Sounds like you're not. You're coming with indictments before you have all the evidence.
No, it's not I'm coming with indictments. What I'm coming with is I have seen this story before. You lived it because you played for the Cowboys.
Yeah, we were.
I was in the stands for it, so I watched it. I have seen this story before. Tony Romo has what? 2 playoff wins? 2 or 3 playoff wins. The Cowboys with Romo were very, very good. They would win the division at times. They would lose it at times. Dak Prescott, he has what? 2 playoff wins? The Cowboys with Dak Prescott are good. I'm not saying that. But good is the enemy of great.
All I'm saying is Dak, as the quarterback of the Cowboys, has never had a losing season. Dak, as the quarterback of the Cowboys, has won the division twice and came in second the other 2 times. Dak is now looking at his future. Next 5 games, guess who they have? The NFC least, 3 of them, and then Cleveland Browns and the Arizona Cardinals. If they should be able to make some hay going forward. So stop slighting this team.
No, this is my problem, though. This serves my point. Here's what the Cowboys are going to do. The Cowboys are going to whoop the Browns. They're going to whoop the Giants. Dak Prescott is 13-3 against the Giants and the Redskins. He's 28-23 now versus everybody else. Cowboys are going to whoop the Browns, whoop the Giants. Likely going to lose to the Cardinals. Then they're going to whoop the Washington football team. Cowboys are going to look up, and they're going to be 4-3. Oh, yeah, Cowboys are 4-3. They're in first place in the division. They would have beat everybody they're supposed to beat, and they would have lost to the teams they're supposed to lose to. The problem is, Marcellus, if you only beat the teams you're supposed to beat and lose to the teams you're supposed to lose to, you will perennially be 8-8 to 10-6. Yeah. You'll go into the playoffs, depending how sorry your division is, and you'll either win the wild card game or you'll lose the wild card game. That's what the Cowboys have done the last 2 decades. I'm not even making this up. Look at the data. It all supports it.
I just want to make sure that you understand you're a little too far in the forest to see these trees. I think that Dallas connection, how you grew up and it was miserable for you with Tony Romo, I don't know what the hell happened. But when I tell you a team that is 1-2 has 5 games that are winnable going in front of them, that is 8. You tell me they're going to go 4-3. There's 8 games right now. This team is going to be 6-2. Mark my words when we go to the halfway stretch, and we're going to have this conversation.
This team's not going to be 6-2
going forward. Coming up at the top of the hour, whoo, that was difficult. We're not done talking about Dak. Here we go again. We'll tell you if we proved anything in Sunday's loss. But first, Carson Wentz's Eagles and Achos are still winless this season. We'll tell you if the Eagles should bench their quarterback. Next, Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Let's talk about Carson Wentz. His turnover problems continued against the Bengals. Wentz threw multiple interceptions for the 3rd straight game. The Philly quarterback did score a game-tying touchdown to send the game in overtime, but the Eagles had to settle for a tie and still have no wins. Big goose egg in the win column on the season. So, Marcellus,
yes, sir.
Let's get to it and keep throwing these blows. Should the Eagles bench Carson Wentz?
You know they should. They should have. This should be past tense. He should have been benched. I'll take my bow right now for getting in front of this because I use my own career, my own lens, my own experience to give me expertise on this subject. Carson Wentz will continue to struggle because Carson Wentz is now in the mindset that if he tries harder, that he can fix this. But that's the exact same reason he got into this position in the first place. Carson Wentz mechanically is eroding. Carson Wentz in terms of eroding, not going away. Carson Wentz in terms of being in the togetherness of a team mindset is on an island by himself. Carson Wentz is now being looked at as less than the parts around him. And that's no place a leader of your team, a franchise quarterback, a guy making $32 million, 3rd most cash this year in the NFL, should be looked at by his peers. So, yeah, you should bench him. Why? Because we got a quarterback going out there throwing the ball 47 times for only 225 yards. For everything we said about Russell Wilson being elite and Dak being great to elite, what the hell can we say about Carson Wentz right now? Getting outplayed by Joe Burrow in his 3rd NFL game, there's no way that you can look at this and say anything else but it's time for you to get a TV timeout if you're Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz is playing bad football right now. I tweeted it. I'll say it again. Okay. I'll say it with my chest. Carson Wentz is playing bad football right now. I'm not going to give you an excuse, but I am going to give you an explanation. The Eagles are doing Carson Wentz no favors at all whatsoever. Shame on Doug Peterson. Shame on Howie Roseman. Both people I think very highly of. But, Marcellus, you spent the last 20 minutes telling me about how Dak Prescott has no help. Yeah. Let me show you what no help looks like. Okay. Broken wings, full screen, please. Last segment I gave y'all theatrics. Now I'm just going to give y'all a little bit of logic, a little bit of reason. Let's talk about the Eagles receiving core. Alshon Jeffrey, hurt, inactive. Jalen Reagor, first-round pick, inactive. Marquise Goodwin, he's a speedster they traded for during the draft. He opted out. Dallas Goedert got hurt in the first quarter. He played 6 plays. Deshaun Jackson got hurt in the second quarter. He played 28 plays, 31% of the snaps. Take away the full screen. The Eagles' leading receivers yesterday were Greg Ward, high school quarterback. I'm just kidding, college quarterback, excuse me. Played quarterback, University of Houston. Deontay Burnett, they activated him from practice squad on Saturday night. The game was played on Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. John Hightower, a 5th-round pick. And J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, a young man who has 10 career catches in his 2-year career.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about no help, that's what no help looks like. Carson Wentz is playing bad football. I'm not making an excuse for Carson Wentz. I'm providing an explanation. If you want to talk about this question, though, you want to bench Carson Wentz for Jalen Hurts, and you expect Jalen Hurts to do what with this? What you expect? Because my thing is, I'm not trying to further hurt Jalen Hurts.
How does he get hurt?
Okay, let's talk about how.
He ain't Carson Wentz.
I'm not talking about physically. What is Jalen Hurts known for? Again, I college football. I'm not going to disregard your college football, but I covered it as well. Jalen Hurts is known for 2 things. Mental toughness.
Okay.
He transferred he got beat out. Then he came back in, he saved his team in Alabama. Then he transfers to OU, takes his team to the college football playoff, Heisman finalist. He's known for mental toughness. What else is he known for? His elusive ability, his running ability. That is what Jalen Hurts is known for. Jalen Hurts isn't known right now as being a proficient quarterback. Ask anybody. You can ask Alabama fans. You can ask Oklahoma Sooners fans. He's not known for that. So you want to throw Jalen Hurts in a game with John Hightower, Greg Ward, Deontay Burnett, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and you think there's going to be a difference?
Yeah, I do, actually, and I'm going to use you against you to tell me the difference, because you've been telling me, raving over how last year he had guys that came off the street. He had guys that were quarterbacks last year. And Carson Wentz went undefeated in December and took the team on his back. And without a bad play, oh, my God, an illegal hit, Carson Wentz would have rolled off into the sunset.
Maybe.
How did that play out? You told me. Now, the same guys, or the lack of same guys, is now an issue when last year you gave him praise for that. Make some sense of it, Acho. Now, here's the thing when you're a franchise quarterback. Are we winning because of you, or are we winning in spite of you? Or are we not winning at all because of you? And that's what Carson Wentz has to deal with. Do not keep trying to play whack-a-mole with all the issues saying, well, don't put Jalen Hurts in because his offensive line ain't there. Oh, my God, no receivers. Because you're not going to make condensed sense of this. There is an evaluation at every position. No matter what we come into in the locker room, we can win, we can lose. We have individual meetings. We have position meetings. And in those position meetings, what can you say that's positive to Carson Wentz right now? I don't see it. So what we see now is a quarterback and his confidence at an all-time low. Therefore, his performance is at an all-time low. Carson Wentz, outside of maybe Kirk Cousins this year, has been the most underachieving quarterback. And by some metrics, the worst quarterback.
Absolutely.
This year.
Absolutely.
You have to stop the bleeding. This is a situation where if you want someone to stop the hiccups, you got to scare them. You got to wake them up. You got to shock them. You can't just let them continue breathing as normal and expect them to stop making this.
Here's why I disagree. I disagree because regardless of how ugly it looks, and it looks bad. I've seen every Eagle. Well, I played in the first several Eagles games back in 2013, but I've seen every Eagles game for the last 7 years. This isn't all of them, because I was in some, and then I've been watching the rest.
You're the one.
This is as bad as Carson Wentz has looked, including his rookie year, which was bad. But here's the thing.
Ending point. That's it. That's what we did.
No. If the Eagles were half a game back and were 2-1, would we be tripping? No. So my thing is, Marcellus, the Eagles still are only a half a game back in the NFC East. You're going to bench Carson Wentz, who is bad. I will continue to iterate. He is playing bad. But if you're going to bench Carson Wentz, though you're a half game back, it's not a very wise move. The Eagles made their bed. Here's why, Marcellus, and I'm going to preach on your point for a second.
Let's hear it.
Y'all chose to pay Carson Wentz $32.5 million annually. Y'all chose, though, still to not give him any help. Josh Allen is balling right now. Balling. Who'd he acquire in the offseason? Stephon Diggs. Kyler Murray is balling right now. Who'd he acquire in the offseason? DeAndre Hopkins. But you got Carson Wentz, who you paid. You paid. I didn't pay him. Marcellus, you ain't pay him. You paid Carson Wentz. And yet, you came back into the season with Alshon, with an older, aging Deshaun Jackson, and you didn't even do anything to help him. He's still playing bad. Yes. Yeah. But y'all put yourselves in this position. You draft Jalen Hurts in the second round when this is the best receiving draft class we've seen in the last 2 decades. So to bench Carson Wentz right now is dumb for 2 reasons. Number one, it's not as if Jalen Hurts got any help out there. So what's going to happen? You put Jalen Hurts in there, and then he sucks. Now what's your move, Marcellus?
Here's my move, is the fact that I'm not going to look at the GM and say, what number do you wear? Oh, you don't wear number 11. I'm not going to look at the moves or the lack thereof of moves and say, it's on you. I'm looking at Carson Wentz and saying, I don't give a damn what I put you in terms of situations and circumstances. Play yourself out of them if you're going to be a franchise quarterback. If you're not a franchise quarterback. You just came up here and ripped the Dallas Cowboys, which are tied for first in the NFL. NFC East. And, yes, you did. And on top of that, Dak Prescott's having another career year, backing up a career year last year in his own evaluation. But then it's going to be like mercy rule when it comes to Carson Wentz. No. It makes no sense.
No, I've said, and I will say it again, Carson Wentz is playing bad. That is not mercy. I said Dak Prescott is playing great. Put everything in context. But here's my thing. You look at Deshaun Watson. They're 0-3 right now.
Yeah.
Actually, their record is worse than the Eagles. Deshaun Watson's not a bad quarterback. Carson Wentz right now is playing bad. But what's the issue with Deshaun? He ain't got no help. You look at Matthew Stafford, the course of his career. I don't love Matthew Stafford. I know some dudes love him. I'm not a Matthew Stafford crush kind of guy. But ask the Matthew Stafford defendants. He doesn't have any help around him. He's only had 1,000-yard rusher in his career. I think it might have been Reggie Bush back in, 2013 or something like that. With that being said, the Eagles, y'all made y'all bed. Y'all gotta lay in this joint.
No, we don't.
Y'all gotta lay in this joint.
Somebody is having nightmares, and it's only one of them on this team. And you're the reason for it, Carson Wentz. If you can't one day say, oh, I could play in spite of what's around me, and the next day say, I can't play because of what's around me.
Let me ask you this.
Then don't take that.
No, let me ask you this, Marcellus. Let me ask you this. If you are a runner, if you're a marathon runner, and when you go out there and you break the world record, I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't break the world record again or if you fall short. Carson Wentz last year was the only quarterback in NFL history, if I'm not mistaken, off top of the dome, to throw for 4,000 yards with no 500-yard receivers. He broke a figurative speaking record. I'm not going to be completely disgruntled, I will say, with Carson Wentz if he can't do it again. But also, mind you, he's also down 3 offensive linemen plus all those receivers.
And Dak is down. Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know what the hell happened. You weren't training. You were getting tattoos. I don't know what the hell happened to you. I'm looking at it but Dak's still putting up career numbers. Dak is still putting his team on his back. Carson Wentz is stepping on his own team's fingers. Here's the thing. You keep saying it's like this 3-game sample size. TJ came on here and schooled you about it, too. Let me say it again. The last 2 years, since Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate, under 500. Carson Wentz right now is under the Mendoza line in terms of completion percentage. He is at 59%. You know who he's hovering around? Trubisky, who got benched. I told you about Kirk Cousins. And Dwayne Haskins. And you getting $32.5 million. Can you stop playing? Game on the line. We're in overtime. You know what Carson Wentz led them to? 3 drives that ended in a punt. Carson Wentz. Look, it all matters. Context matters, and your name matters. And guess what? Carson Wentz is underachieving to the fullest.
If you want to do that, let's do this. Carson Wentz's last 2 years, it's a full season. He's 15, 16, and 1. 15, 16, and 1. Dak Prescott, last year, 9 and 11. So if you want to go there, let's dance now. Dak Prescott was 8-8 last year. 8-8 last year, and he 1-2 this year.
That doesn't add up to the same amount of numbers.
8-8 last year. 8-8 last year. He has 1 win this year. So now 9, and then he lost. Okay, he's 9 and 10.
Has he had See
9 to 10. 9 and 10. 15, 16, and 1.
Respect.
The same thing.
But which one is having career games and keeping his team in it and playing toe-to-toe with MVP? And which one is losing to Joe Burrow, who just got picked a couple of months ago?
Marcellus,
can we stop that?
They both lost to the Rams. They both lost to the Rams, sir. They both, like, what are we talking about here?
It's not about you losing. It's how you're performing in the wins and losses. I don't understand what you missed in the NFL evaluation process, but they grab you. They don't always grab the team.
Let's talk about the fact that they didn't lose because Doug Peterson decided to play for a tie. With under 20 seconds left in overtime, Doug Peterson decided to punt rather than try a 64-yard field goal or have Carson Wentz attempt to get the first down. After the game, Peterson said he didn't want to give the Bengals a short field, but earlier today, he changed his tune a little bit. Take a listen.
In that situation, now you go from 4th and 7 to 4th and 12. It's a tough thing. I mean, again, looking back, you probably put it in your quarterback's hands to win the game. You know, Zach was having a decent second half and some of the guys, and you know, you look back on it and you go, okay, let's trust those guys and put it in their hands. But 4th and 12 is not only to overcome that, you know, it's got to take 11 guys doing the right thing.
Marcellus, I know how I feel, but are you okay with Doug Peterson playing for a tie?
Playing for a tie? Hell no, I'm not comfortable with my coach going out there and say, hey, if nothing happened today, nothing happened today. Roll the dice. But you know what this is? This is a greater story is being told, and not enough people are paying attention to it. The erosion of confidence is contagious. People have to remember that. When confidence starts to go, it doesn't just stay in your body. It affects all those around you that's trying to pull in the same direction. Look at now Doug Peterson's confidence that went, it starts to erode with his quarterback, which affected it eroding with his kicker. And then now it's eroding in him in terms of how he goes about his business. You know, after they won that Super Bowl, you know, after 2017, what Doug Peterson did? He wrote a book. What was the name of that book?
Talk to me.
Fearless. He wrote a book talking about how I'm fearless. In crunch situations, critical moments, I roll the dice. And that's why he went home last night, woke up this morning and realized I have lost my way. But I'm not even blaming Doug Peterson. You know why? Because he lost his way because he was directed to lose his way by his quarterback. By continuing to invest and buy into something that is a depreciating asset at the moment. I didn't say cut Carson Wentz. I didn't say trade Carson Wentz. I said get that boy a hell of a TV timeout and just scare the hiccups out of him. Because right now we are teetering on the border of the yips, like a dude who just doesn't know his way. It's affecting everything. Now you get in a situation where you have a kicker who's made a 61-yarder game winner against the Giants 3 years ago, who made a 54-yarder in this same game. You don't even give him a stroke at it. Why? Because you don't believe in your quarterback, which makes you not believe in your kicker, which makes you not believe in yourself.
The more I've gotten out of football, the longer I've been out of football, the more I realize this phrase I'm about to utter is true.
Yes, hear it.
Players are a reflection of their coach. If your coach is scared, you scared. Doug Peterson, you are the same person who ran the Philly Special, the biggest stage of the biggest game of the biggest moment of your career, Doug Peterson, and you had a tight end in Trey Burton catch a flip pass from your running back and flip the ball to Nick Foles in the end zone. The same Doug Peterson who ran the Philly Special against the vaunted New England Patriots is too scared to play to win against the Bengals. A Bengals team that won 2 games last year.
I wonder why.
And no, because I don't care about Carson Wentz. Kick the field goal. You said Jake Elliott hit a 61-yarder against the Giants. I was at that game, corner of the end zone. I was watching it with the teammates, old teammate at the time. He kicked the 61-yarder. Jake Elliott's done that. Let him take the swing, get a 64-yarder. If he misses, the Bengals get the ball at the 47-yard line. They got about 20 seconds and change to get 20 yards. But at least you go down swinging. Marcellus, what do they tell us? You play to win the game. You don't play to tie. Well, especially not tie to Bengals.
Well,
the Bengals?
I push back on that. When you say that, that's not an absolute. If your team is doing well, if your team is on a win streak, if your team has a quarterback you believe in, there's an opportunity where you want to play for a tie because you don't want a loss. So what a tie is going to accentuate whatever you're going through. If you're winning, a tie is not going to kill you. If you're losing, a tie is going to kill you because you still don't have a winning formula. You have not reversed course. You have not changed the flow. So this situation, knowing who you're dealing with, knowing that Carson Wentz is starting to lose his confidence and the team around you is starting to lose his confidence, that's the perfect prime opportunity to roll the dice.
Do something.
You say, Carson Wentz, you don't want to talk about that. But I'm here to tell you what you learn about the game of football is mind over matter, brother. I don't care how big, fast, and strong you are. If it's not working up here between the ears, you have an issue. And right now, he had the perfect moment to say, let me inject some confidence in this team. Let me get that good feeling going. That's when you're supposed to do it. And Doug Peterson laid flat in that moment.
What I mean by I don't want to talk about it is this. This is how I'm going to end it. Doug Peterson, it's 4th and 12. Don't roll Carson Wentz out there. He already been bad. 4th and 12, he could take a sack. He could throw a pick. He could throw an incompletion. It's not on Carson Wentz. Doug Peterson, you're the head coach. If Carson Wentz has been terrible, put it in the hands of somebody who's been great.
Jalen Hurts?
Historically great. No,
Nick
the kicker, Jake Elliott. Put it in, but not even in the hands. Put it in his leg. Let him take off, kick the 64-yarder. Because to Marcellus's point, if you make that and you're 1-2, you're now tied for first, or again, half game back in the division, depending on how you look at it. Now, sure, Doug Peterson, you're only a half game back, sitting at 0-2-1. But the same Doug Peterson that had the guts to run the Philly special against the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl is the same Doug Peterson that's going to play for a tie against the Bengals. As an Eagles fan, I can't stand it.
He used to believe in his quarterback. That's why he did that.
Coming up, LeBron is headed to the 10th NBA Finals. We'll find out why the King actually has more to lose than win against the Heat. That's next. Speak for yourself. Presented by Hyundai.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's move on to the NBA, where LeBron James led the Lakers to the finals for the first time in a decade, finishing with a triple-double, including 16 points in the fourth quarter. The King is making his 10th trip to the finals, where he is 3-6. Heard that, Acho? So it makes sense that ahead of his matchup with the Heat, he said, quote, right now, it don't mean bleep unless I get it done. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. But Acho, you're up first. Does LeBron have more to win or lose in the finals?
Shout out to the King, first and foremost, for 10 NBA Finals. My God.
You a rapper over here?
But
shout out to the homie.
Let's keep it real, man. LeBron has more to lose than win right now. And again, as a LeBron fan, I had to go back all weekend, and I was thinking about it. I said, hold on now. He made it, but boy, he better win it. Let's look at LeBron in the finals. 07, first time in the finals. Only been in the league for a few years at that point. You lose to the Spurs. Well, the Spurs got 3 future Hall of Famers and a Hall of Fame head coach. Okay, you have the Mavericks. I'm going to come back to that. But then you lose to the Spurs again. Spurs have 4 future Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame head coach. Then you lose 3 times to the Warriors. They got 3 future Hall of Famers, depending on how you want to count it, Hall of Fame head coach. All of those losses, you can kind of be like, okay, you know what? This is excusable. But if LeBron somehow loses to the Heat, led by Jimmy Butler, is he even a top 70 player of all time? That is completely indefensible. Now, let me get back to this Mavericks loss. The reason the Mavericks loss that LeBron had was so bad wasn't because he lost to the Mavericks. Dirk, a top 5 power forward of all time, top 15 player by my imagination, but I'm from Dallas. I know I'm biased. The reason is LeBron played terribly. It's not that he lost to the Mavericks. It's the fact that how he lost to the Mavericks. So the problem here, Marcellus and Slick, is very, very simple. The greats have those 5, 6 chips as you look at it, whether you want to look at Magic, Kareem, Jordan, Kobe. But by getting 4, that's really not a huge difference from 3. So I think LeBron does, in fact, have more to lose than he does have to win. However, I do think he is going to win.
Wow. Never knew you were out there playing not to lose. And that's the situation. Of course he has more to win if he goes out there and plays and wins the championship with the Lakers. After the drought, the Lakers, the great, the lovely Los Angeles Lakers, are back in the finals because of the King. Of course he has more to win. Let's talk about this. First of all, Acho's approach is like LeBron's been great in the finals in terms of win-loss column, in terms of win percentage. You know he is 3-6 in the finals. So it's not like you're going to upset the apple cart if he loses again. That would be 3-7. However, if he wins, then now you got 4. And you go into rarefied air. Why is it rarefied? Because Going from 3 to 4, you take away a lot of guys. You start entering that Shaq category, and then you start getting towards that Kobe and that Jordan category. But the reason why it makes so much sense for LeBron to go out there and make sure he wins again is because LeBron is trying to win this fight on the scorecards. He can't win it by knockout. And we know who he's fighting. Michael Jordan, the GOAT. I think LeBron is the GOAT, but I'm not about to have a barbershop argument with you guys. But I know how I can silence you in the barbershop. If LeBron James goes out there for his 3rd time with a different franchise, 3 different franchises, and not only goes out there and wins a championship, but let's win the Finals MVP. No one has ever done that. Jordan is going to always win the perfection argument. 6-0 in finals and no Game 7. That's how he wins it. One hit or quitter. Bow. One sentence, get out the barbershop. LeBron has to go out there and affect the scorecards. This is going to be a 12-rounder if it's LeBron James. He has to take you into deep water. And how does he do that? By winning another championship with a team that we're used to seeing being great, but of late has not been great. But now the king is here. He has a lot to win in this situation.
Yeah, let me explain how the media works, because the media is going to determine the narrative on whether he wins or loses. Can we agree on that? I mean, ultimately, it's going to be decided by everybody watching. The media coming into this season, and I went back to check because I knew that people had really devalued the Lakers in spite of Anthony Davis and LeBron James being there. But the anticipation was that they were not going to win the Western Conference title, much less win the NBA championship. The great Sam Smith had them as the 4th seed. The New York Times, 8 experts. There was only one who had the Lakers even playing in the Western Conference Finals, and that was losing to the Clippers. The Sporting News had them as the 4th seed. ESPN and their 100 experts had them as the 5th seed in the Western Conference. So this is how the media works. When something extraordinary happens, when the media predicts something and it doesn't happen, they're proved wrong, somebody must have done something extraordinary in order for that to be upset. That's the view of LeBron James simply getting to the finals at this point. So to Marcellus's point, like, he's 3-6 in the finals. If he's 3-7 in the finals, so what? He wasn't coming close to Jordan anyway. The Last Dance put to bed the idea, crushed the idea that LeBron James is in the GOAT conversation. If he goes now 4-6 and he wins a 3rd title with a 3rd team, everybody's going to look at that and say, well, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar didn't do that. Shaquille O'Neal didn't do that. Only 2 teams, 2 championships. Michael Jordan had 6 out of 6, but that was all in one place. He will suddenly have something that no superstar has ever done, and that is going to relight that conversation about GOAT, which is something that, as of right now, is dead and gone. That's what he has to gain. If he doesn't win, okay, he's just where he is now, a guy who can get to the finals all the time but not necessarily win.
Slick, you said some things I agree with, some things that me and Marcellus was like, raggy?
Peanut butter and jelly.
I was a little confused, but I don't even know what to dissect, but I'm going to hop in real quick, Slick.
I'm a good sandwich maker, brother.
I'm going to hop in real quick. LeBron is in the GOAT conversation right now, obviously. The Last Dance was great, but the Last Dance was a little bit fancified. I mean, the Last Dance was phenomenal, but the Last Dance had some extra theatrics. Here's what I will say. What LeBron has done is utterly impressive. I mean, what Jordan did, crazy, obviously. You know, you go 6 for 6, but you're always there with Phil Jackson. LeBron, wherever LeBron goes, whatever LeBron touches, like Midas, it turns to gold. Literally. How you go to a chip with Ty Lue, then you go with Spoelstra, then you come back with Vogel. But that's neither here nor there. Let me say this in a way that everybody can understand. Y'all remember that game, Super Mario Brothers?
Oh, I used to love that.
Oh, we all used to love it. I used to just be on the...
Just the original.
Of course. But remember, the final stage, the final level, you had to beat Bowser. You had to.
But that was his name?
That was it, Bowser. You remember Bowser with the turtle with the red hair? Had to be Bowser. Bowser is Michael Jordan, and LeBron is playing with 1 life left. If LeBron loses his finals, he will be disqualified from the GOAT conversation. Like if you were to lose with 1 life in Super Mario, that's it. You got to turn the game off, that's it. Hand it to little bro, hand it to big bro, hand it to little sister, hand the sticks to big sister. But if LeBron beats this level, he still is just closer to beating Bowser. Because if LeBron gets his 4th chip, he's just closer to catching Jordan. But it's not as though he's going to beat Bowser or beat Jordan on this level. So as I look at it, Marcellus, is very simple. LeBron can disqualify himself from the GOAT conversation right here and now. Sure, he's still in the conversation. But if LeBron loses to the Heat, completely inexcusable. You can lose to the Spurs in 07, that's fine. You can lose to the Spurs with Kawhi plus Pop plus the big three. You can lose to Steph and KD. You can lose to Steph and Clay and Draymond. But if you lose to Tyler Hero, he's cold, but what is he, 20? If you lose to Bam Adebayo, I rock with him because he's Nigerian, but let's be real. If you lose to Jimmy Buckets, congratulations, but Jimmy Buckets, it's not as if he's a 10, 15-time All-Star. It's inexcusable and indefensible.
Acho, I know why you're doing this is because you don't want to use the word asterisk. You don't want to use that word because you can't pronounce that word, but the reality is you're not taking into account the bubble. The bubble creates a built-in excuse rationale as to why LeBron James wouldn't win this. If Miami Heat wins it with a young team, well, it's because the bubble. It's more of an AAU atmosphere. So Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo and these guys who are closer to playing in AAU tournaments than they are in playing the NBA Finals have an advantage, not a disadvantage. You have Eric Spoelstra, who not only knows LeBron James up and down, but has a huge advantage over Frank Vogel, who's never been in these deep waters before. Oh, by the way, Anthony Davis, never been in these deep waters before. Oh, he's got the oldest team that was supposed to be the 4th or 5th seed in the Western Conference. And by the way, LeBron James is 35. So what should we really expect from him at 35? I just feel as if there are so many things that that anybody who is a LeBron acolyte can point to and say, well, it's amazing that he got to the Western Conference or the finals with this particular squad and this team. We never expected that. You mentioned the finals in 2007 when he lost to the Spurs. And yes, nobody expected them to win, but he didn't take a hit for that. When he was in Miami, he was expected to win because those teams were built, and he took to win championships, not just one, but not just 5, not just 6. And so when they didn't win in 2011, he took a massive hit because he was expected. When he won in Cleveland over the 73-win Warriors, not expected to come back from 3-1, was given all sorts of accolades. It's only when he's expected to win is there a price paid for LeBron James. And right now, in spite of everything, I don't look at this matchup and say LeBron James, in the media's eyes, was expected to win a championship. Maybe as of right now because it's the Miami Heat. But in the big picture, he was never expected to even be at this point.
LeBron James only beats Michael Jordan in the GOAT conversation if he kills him by a death of 1,000 paper cuts. You got to remember, he can't knock out Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan was perfect. Even if he took a break in retirement, 6-0, no game 7s, you're not going to one-hit a quitter that. But a death by 1,000 paper cuts, if you're LeBron, you start to say, well, I have more points, I have more rebounds, I have more assists. My PER was right there, if not higher, depends on how he finishes his career. Number of trips to the finals, number of trips to the finals with different organizations, number of trips to the finals with different organizations and finals MVPs. Like, that's how you kill Michael Jordan. You got a boa constrictor, wrap him around him, and just start to hold on. We'll see if the GOAT, the king, can do that. Coming up, the Bears won behind more Nick Foles heroics. We'll bring in the other Acho, Sam, to see what he'll say about what the decision to bench Trubisky looked like. Next, I don't know what I just said. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's move to the Bears, who benched the struggling Mitch Trubisky Sunday for Nick Foles to start the second half. Chicago was down by 16 points to the Falcons, but Foles led them on 3 scoring drives in the fourth quarter to get the win. No surprise, today head coach Matt Nagy announced that Foles will be the Bears starter this week against Indy. Well, nothing better than one Acho, but 2 Achos. So I had to bring in my big brother, former Bears linebacker there for 4 years, to weigh in on this conversation. Marcellus, so you up first. Do you agree with Matt Nagy's decision to bench Trubisky?
Nope. don't like this decision at all. This is what players always talk about when they start to say they hate the game because of the business side of the game, the politics. And I hate when the politics are on the tip of your lip, but you try to hide under performance. And that's what I'm seeing right now. Thinly veiled, oh, you know, I had a gut feeling, as Matt Nagy said, and try to use it on performance when really it's just the politics at play. Don't you dare, coach, come out there to an undefeated quarterback this season and who's having a bad game, I give you that, and all of a sudden say, you know what, this is the moment we should transition and play the Nick Foles card. The hell you playing the card so early for? I understand what Nick Foles is there to do. Push Mitch Trubisky and obviously be there in case of emergency, break glass, Nick Foles comes out and saves the day. But right now, you want to use this as the moment? So what's going to happen is the sports guys are going to say, karma will come get you, Matt Nagy. When you come back in that locker room and you start to tell the guys, all right, guys, you know, we're going to go forward with Nick Foles right now, they're going to look around and say, Mitch was kind of balling, coach. Mitch was undefeated this year. That's how you treat a player when he's playing well and hasn't lost a game just yet? Oh, and you're going to start to lose the belief from your team in you as the head coach. Be careful if you're Matt Nagy right now.
This one is tough for me. I got love for Mitch. I have more love for Nick, but let's go with facts over feelings. Matt Nagy made the right decision. And it's not because Mitch Trubisky was at fault, but ultimately hindsight is 20/20. They won the game, but I'm not even going to go there because that's a little bit said in jest. Here's what I will say. Mitch Trubisky was not going to lose the Chicago Bears the game. But Nick Foles won the Chicago Bears the game. Understand there's a delineation between that. Mitch wasn't going to be the reason they were at fault. He was 13 for 21, 1 touchdown on the day. Like, he wasn't playing bad, statistically speaking. But Nick Foles came in there and played great. Nick Foles threw 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But if you watch the game, that 1 interception actually was a touchdown. Both receivers, the receiver and the defensive ball, possessed the ball going into the end zone. So you can't even really fault him for that. But here's the thing we have to remember. Mitch has not been playing bad. And I also put a lot of blame on Matt Nagy for the struggles of Mitch Trubisky since he has entered into the league. But in Mitch's last 11 drives, essentially 4 quarters of play, the Bears have put up, I believe, maybe 10 points total. Nick Foles goes in there, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. For whatever reason, Nick Foles came in there and jump-started the team. I don't know what it was. I don't believe that defensive players start playing harder when they see a quarterback go in. That didn't happen for me. I saw Nick Foles replace Michael Vick. I didn't play any harder. I saw Mark Sanchez replace Nick Foles when Nick Foles got hurt. I didn't play any harder. I don't know what it is, but the Bears won the game. The Bears are 3-0. They're one of 6 teams in the NFL that's 3-0. If Mitch would have finished that game off, they'd be sitting at 2-1. I can't be mad at the decision.
You play to win the game. You play to win the game. What has Mitch Trubisky done? He's won games. Nick Foles came back, Emmanuel, and I love you. I do. I really do. But Nick Foles came back from a 16-point deficit. What did Mitch Trubisky do week 1? Come back from a 16-point deficit. Boom. Nick Foles threw 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter to win the game. What did Mitch do in week 1? Threw 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter to win the game. Do I think that Coach Nagy made the right decision? I absolutely do not, and here's why. It's similar to what Marcellus said. It's almost like you're dating somebody. You know you're not really committed to them, but you want to just bring them out and keep on taking them out. No, I don't want that, man. If I'm not the guy, I'm not the guy. Don't tell me if I'm Mitch Trubisky. Don't tell me we have a competition and I'm winning the competition, and all of a sudden I make a little tiny mistake. I throw an interception, right? Everybody throws pick, and all of a sudden I'm benched, right? Don't put that veil in front of me. That does 2 things. Number 1, that kills the quarterback's confidence. And like Marcellus talked about earlier, gets you this piece of, man, what do the players in the locker room really say? Is Mitch really our guy? Is Nick going to throw 2-3 picks and we're going to go back to Mitch? Who are we and what's our identity going to be?
Here's my thing.
Got him.
The Bears won the game. And so you can't question the coach's decision because they won the game. Like, ultimately, you can't. I mean, if you're leaving Mitch and the Bears are sitting at 2-1, today would be like, man, he probably should have went to Nick Foles. But we don't have to ask ourselves that because he put in Nick Foles and he made the right decision. Mitch shouldn't have been benched based on his performance. But ultimately, if you were watching the game, Mitch was not about to come back from that game. Again, let me get more specific because I uttered it a little bit wrong last time. Mitch has had his previous 11 drives. Mitch has yielded 10 points and 3 turnovers in 4 quarters of play. He just hasn't been on right now. Now, to my brother's point, The Chicago Bears have been looking for the door. Like, shoot, how can we get Mitch out of here? Oh, one interception, that's it. Let's get him out. To my brother's point, the Chicago Bears have been looking to get Mitch out the door. But ultimately, if the Bears leave Mitch in, they don't win. Nick Foles, if there was a Sixth Man of the Year award in football, Nick Foles would win it. He comes in and he is the greatest relief quarterback of all time. Now, I disagree. I don't think they should start Nick Foles again this week. That's where I disagree. I would go back out and start Mitch. Because if you start Nick Foles this week and now Nick Foles performs bad, now you in a world of hurt. But as for yesterday, now with the Bears sitting at 3-0, 74% chance you make the playoffs if you're 3-0, I'm not mad at it.
Oh, I know you just had to fill time right there because I know you don't believe a damn word you just said. It doesn't matter how we win, as long as we win. What the hell does a team have to do with winning and chemistry? You don't want to respect what that is? Let me give it to you in your world. You are up here arguing right now that a bad decision that got good results is something you should support, something you should champion. Never. I can tell you ain't got no kids, Acho. Let me tell you this. You cannot go out there and put pom-poms to bad decisions even if you get good results. Give you an example. You're on your way to work. You know you're running late, and there's that red light. And you're like, this is a bad decision, but I'm going to run it. And you get through. You get to work on time. Everything works out. Good result. But that's still a bad decision. Keep doing that and see what happens to you. Emmanuel Acho. So let's do the real apples-to-apples comparison of these two quarterbacks because Acho cooks books. I started to learn that. Last 24 starts. Let's talk about Nick Foles, who's been 11-13 in those last 24 versus 17-7 for Mitch Trubisky. Interesting. How about let's talk about how they're performing, touchdown and interceptions. 23-18 for Nick Foles, but 31-18 for Mitch Trubisky. Oh, you think players don't have Google? You think players don't understand that, hey, the politics are at play to the point where it's clouding the vision of those upstairs. And Matt Nagy was just a pawn in the process, really trying to go through with the marching orders that were politically driven to get Mitch Trubisky out of this situation where they can have leverage to go forward. I've seen it happen too many times, and they use it against an undefeated quarterback who actually has a better win percentage than Nick Foles of recent history. So make it make sense to me, Sacho, but I don't see how you can.
Well, I love what we're talking about here. We're talking about quarterbacks. Emmanuel, you tweeted something earlier about quarterbacks being the key to success, and I understand that. We're talking about Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles. But let me tell you what no one is talking about. Nobody's talking about this Chicago Bears defense. Back in 2018, I played on the team. Back in 2018, this defense was a top 20 defense of all time. They were not a bend, not break defense. They were, we're not going to bend, we're not going to break. We are the best defense probably ever, arguably. 2019, the defense regressed. And now 2020, the defense has been very much, let's hope for a good play, hope for an interception, hope for a drop touchdown to help our team win games. And so the real issue has nothing to do with the quarterback. It doesn't matter if you're Mitch Trubisky back there throwing the ball. It doesn't matter if you're Nick Foles. Doesn't matter if I'm back there throwing the ball. This defense needs to step up and be what is advertised. Yes, there's talent across the board. Danny Trevathan, Roquan Smith, Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Eddie Jackson, Kyle Fuller. The list goes on and on. But the fact of the matter is this defense isn't playing up to their standards, admittedly. And so before we start passing blame and making Mitch Trubisky the scapegoat, let's look at the defense that's not living up to par. They're not performing as advertised.
I don't care about the defense. Like Marcellus said, that's vegetables. We're up here to make TV. I want popcorn. I want popcorn and dessert. And Marcellus, Sam, let me tell you about this before I have to let you go. Marcellus is the king of cooking books. Marcellus, Nick Foles is 11-7 in the last 4 seasons. Marcellus had to go back to 2015 when Nick Foles went 4-7 as a starter.
I gotta grab apples to apples. 24 starts. Your last 24.
No. I'm the one grabbing the apples because I'm the sous chef and you the real chef. Okay, you the one cooking up here. Coming up in our big story, Dak Prescott threw for nearly 500 yards, but the Cowboys still lost. We'll tell you if he proved anything Sunday. That's next. Speak for yourself.
You're watching Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Marcel Swiley, Emmanuel Acho. Let's head back to the NFL for our big story. And Dak Prescott, time for some water right here, who threw for nearly 500 yards against the Seahawks Sunday. Dak had 3 touchdown passes, but he couldn't keep the same game-winning heroics from last week. Dak threw 2 interceptions, including a potential game-time pass in the end zone that sealed the win for the Seahawks. Cowboys are now 1-2 to start the season. So, Acho, did Dak prove anything in the loss Seahawks.
No, he didn't. But here's why he didn't. We know this Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott's a good quarterback.
Wait a minute. In 1 hour, he went from great to good that fast. He ain't played a damn game between that.
Here's what I mean. Here's what I mean. Here's what I mean. What did Dak Prescott do last year? Top 5 in passing yards. Top 5 in passing touchdowns. Cowboys were 8-8. Where's Dak Prescott right now? Top 2 in passing yards. Up there in passing touchdowns. Cowboys are 1-2. Here it is. Here's a full screen. Like, don't even listen to my words. Just look at the numbers. Completion percentage last year, 13%. This year, 17%. Last year, passing touchdowns 4th. This year, he'll get up there. Don't worry about that 12th thing. I'm not trying to shade Dak. But just understand, Dak Prescott is going to fill up the stat sheet, fill up the box score, and the Cowboys are going to end up 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, 10-6, depending on how the coin lands that day. Dak didn't prove anything. This isn't an indictment on Dak. But to prove something means I need to have learned something new, seen something I didn't already know. Dak Prescott lost to another playoff team. Congratulations. Last year, he beat one playoff team, the Philadelphia Eagles. The only reason the Eagles made the playoffs, again, I will tell you all again, is because the Eagles also beat the Cowboys. This year, the Rams are likely going to make the playoffs. The Seahawks are clearly going to make the playoffs. Dak Prescott lost to both of them. The Falcons are not going to make the playoffs. The Falcons are 0-3. Just lost to the Chicago Bears, who had to bring in Nick Foles in relief. Cowboys beat them by 1 point. What did you, I'm done. What did you learn? Because you got to start lying to say you learned anything. I just can't wait to hear these lies.
First of all, you keep conflating. I didn't say I learned anything. I knew Dak was great. And he proved it once again he was great. You can do the same thing and prove that that's actually a reality. You wear nice suits every damn day. To the point where every day you prove that you wear nice suits. I don't need to see you wear a weird suit. No. You ain't got to go Andre 3000 on me and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? He proved that he could dress. I get it. You can do the same thing, and it's just like some people are late to the party. Acho, you're late to the party.
I guess your Uber. I'm just bored.
Uber didn't come, huh? Oh, you're bored of a guy who's won a division twice and came second the other 2 years? Oh, you're bored of a guy who has the #1 offense last year, #1 offense this year? Oh, you're bored of a guy who is a one-man army? Because if you want to look at it,
I can't wait for Bucky to
the issue is all around him. He has a new head coach who's still doing the integration offensively, even though they're still #1 offense. And then you look at the situations, the running game. Ezekiel Elliott, 34 yards, and you've never started a year with 3 straight games under 100.
Chiefs didn't have a good rushing offense last year.
You want to go with
Chiefs didn't have a good rushing offense.
Ranked defense and points allowed. So the point of it is, what I learned is Dak Prescott is who Dak Prescott is. A franchise quarterback and a great. And now he's proving for you, since you like to see proven as something new, that he's a one-man
If you want to
army.
be an average franchise, but he is a franchise quarterback. If you want to be a 9-7,
let's bring in somebody who's not average. Our guy, NFL analyst, Bucky Brooks. Bucky, set Acho straight. Did Dak prove anything in the loss to the Seahawks?
Like, Acho, you're going to have to quit lining up on the wrong end of this argument with me, because I feel so bad sometimes when I go after those reels, but lo and behold, I got my barbecue sauce today. So here's the thing that we have with Dak Prescott. I think if anything we can take out of Dak Prescott this year is he is absolutely a franchise quarterback. Because as Marcellus is out there outlining all the things that he doesn't have, I'm going to add some more to it. Yes, he has a new head coach who, for whatever reason, is trying to do this analytic thing and try and go for gambles and do all this aggressive stuff that is putting his team in harm's way. But beyond that, he's playing with a bad defense. The defense can't stop anybody. Balls are flying over their head. So the Cowboys are always in chase mode. But that's not enough. He's playing with an offensive line. And look, I'm not saying that you can't be an undrafted player, but for so long we've heard all of this stuff about the Cowboys' offensive line. And they got these first-round picks, and it's the best offensive line. Yesterday, once again, they tried it out. 2 undrafted free agents at offensive tackle. So now I got Dak Prescott. I got Dak Prescott running around for his life. And look, I know he's going back-to-back over 450 yards. And I know we like to bring up that he had 3 giveaways. One of those last giveaways was a Hail Mary pass after he spun around like a top to then try and throw it up because he didn't have a choice. So if anything, if I'm Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, I feel even better about Dak Prescott because he has shown my guy can put up numbers without anything being around him. Imagine if they start playing the right way, and the right way was the way that they played when he first got into the league, where it was a little balanced, and that big running back that is getting all that money was actually playing like a big money running back. That's when it becomes the Dak Prescott that wins. And that's why I think they should feel great about Dak Prescott being a $40 million quarterback.
Them ribs taste good. You tore them up. A little barbecue sauce on my finger right here. Let me just highlight one fact that you said. First Cowboys quarterback ever to have consecutive 400 passing yard games, and that's the Cowboys franchise. First one ever. Acho, you ain't got no ribs left. Let me see if you got some words.
It's a different game, Marcellus. Troy Aikman threw over 20 touchdown passes once in his career. Don't talk to me about a quarterback who's now thrown for 400 yards twice. It's a completely different game. Stop cooking the books. But here's what I will say. Bucky, you're right. Marcellus, you're right. Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback. There's a difference between being a franchise quarterback and an elite quarterback. There's a difference between being a franchise quarterback and a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback for a franchise that will hover around 8-8 to 10-6. That's exactly what Dak Prescott is and who Dak Prescott is. I have no problem with that. Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback.
They got you.
But it depends on your definition of good. Coming up, Russell Wilson was on fire again Sunday with 5 touchdown passes, looking like a real franchise quarterback. We'll tell you if he's running away with MVP next. Speak for yourself. Presented by... Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's talk about that man who's been cooking, Russell Wilson. He showed once again why he's the front runner for the MVP. Russ added 5 more TD passes against the Cowboys, giving him 14 on the season, which is the most through a team's first 3 games in NFL history. But that wasn't enough. He's only thrown 1 pick all season long. So Marcellus, tell me this, riddle me this, sir. Is Russell Wilson running away with MVP this year?
Yeah, he's running away from the pack. And other guys are running away with him from the pack as well. I think the MVPs are playing tonight again. Is Lamar Jackson playing tonight? Monday night? Yeah, he is. He's playing against Patrick Mahomes.
He is.
He's off to a slow start, but still can recover. Russell Wilson is not running away from the MVP from everybody. Hell no. Russell Wilson is doing what Russell Wilson does, which is start fast. And let's just hope he doesn't do what he also does, which is not finish as fast. That's why he's never had an MVP vote. 3 years he's been in the consideration for real. 2015, last year, and the year before. Patrick Mahomes, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson. They took it away from him. What happens to Russell Wilson? Last year, 22 touchdowns, only 1 interception. And then what had happened was those divisional games occur, and then those inclement weather games occur. And Russell Wilson, I'm not saying falls off a cliff, just doesn't live up to the same billing. That was week 11 last year. This year, it comes week 6 when you start to see, the meat of the schedule gets a little tougher. We'll see if he keeps that pace. But for my money, Russell Wilson is playing like the front runner of the MVP. But you're a collegiate guy. You studied the college game. You had your best years in the college experience. Let's talk about what that looks like. Remember those Heisman hopefuls? You know, I remember when I saw Joey Arrington one time. I was like in Times Square. I was like, damn, he gonna win the Heisman. It was like August. I was like, look at this thing. Russell Wilson is nothing but a Heisman hopeful, man. They got a great story right now. They hyping him up. He starts fast once again, and they're saying he's going to win it. We'll see, but it's on Russ. And last year it was on him, and he didn't finish it.
Marcellus, Russell is absolutely unequivocally and beyond the shadow of a doubt going to win the MVP.
He's going to win after week 3. Acho says it.
Yeah, but here's why. Okay. Look at NFL history. History will tell you about what may come if you look closely. Yeah. Through 3 weeks, Russell Wilson has thrown the most passing touchdowns in NFL history. Yeah. The 2 names behind Russell Wilson, 2018, Patrick Mahomes, he threw 13. He won MVP. 2013, Peyton Manning, he threw 12. He won MVP that season. Think about Russell Wilson's 1 negative play on the year, an interception off the hands of his receiver, Greg Olsen. Think about how Russell Wilson would have 15 touchdowns this year if DK Metcalf didn't start feeling himself on a perfect 62-yard strike that Russell Wilson threw to him. Russell Wilson is playing better than everybody else. Let's look at the 3-0 MVP candidates, if you will. I don't care so much about the highlights. Everybody knows how good Russell Wilson looks. Let's look at the numbers. The 3 MVP candidates, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger. Obviously, you see the names at the bottom. They've got to play tonight.
Those are the candidates?
The 3. They're 3-0 right now. They're the best players right now in the league.
I'm about to say,
Josh Allen, he got 10 tugs. Josh Allen leads the league, if I'm not mistaken, in passing yards per game, either Josh Allen or Dak Prescott. Josh Allen completing 71% of his balls. But Russell Wilson has 15 touchdowns, 76% completion percentage, 139 passer rating. It is night and day. It's not even a competition right now between everybody else who's playing great and Russell Wilson who's playing elite. Russell Wilson, he's already really run away with it. He will continue to run away with it, and good luck to those trying to catch him.
Here's the problem with Russell Wilson, and let's just be real about this. It's not going to be because of him necessarily that this team doesn't go out there and stay unblemished or goes out there and runs into adversity. What's going to happen is what's happening around him already. You talked about yesterday. The running game wasn't necessarily there for Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. If you leave that game yesterday as a Seattle Seahawk and you're not Russell Wilson, you're like, how long are we going to live on this prayer? Living on a prayer the last 2 weeks. Russell Wilson, you said it. 14 touchdown passes, really should be 16. And they still are sitting there with 6 seconds remaining in games, praying that they can win these games. That defense, that was 32nd ranked. Oh, it improved this week. It's 30th ranked. But Jamal Adams is out. They don't have enough on the defensive side. They're not even getting the same balance and support in the running game. And Russell Wilson, who's playing lights out, is praying at the end of ball games just to get the W's. How long, the law of averages, how long will this mental makeup translate on the field to that level of production before LLL? MVPs can't have too many losses. They're coming.